Today we ask the most important question in everyone's mind. Are video games good or bad? Let's talk about that. A video game is basically an electronic game that requires user interference with a machine to generate visual feedback on an electronic device. Most common will be either a computer screen or a TV screen. The electronic systems used to play games are known as platforms. The most famous platforms of today's society are the PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Wii U, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with. The history of video games goes way back to the 1950s, when computer scientists began designing simple games and simulations. But still, video games didn't reach popularity till the 1970s and the 1980s. When the video arcade games and gaming consoles were introduced to the general public. Ever since, the video game has become a popular form of entertainment. So now we ask the essential question: are video games good or bad? With that being said, let's say the positives and negatives of video games. Let's start with the positives. Number one, it helps the eye to move faster, because most games need neural-muscle compatibility, and after a period of time, this skill is actually improved for the player. Number two, helps one to make quick decisions and find alternatives by which can turn be reflected in one's real life. Number three, releases the negative energy, which is a therapy for overthinking and stress. Moreover, it's a therapy for dyslexia, and this has been scientifically proved. Number four, sharpens the memory, as same games require memorized details. This can both entertain and solve memory problems, especially in elders. It also makes one able to solve problems quicker and become more accurate. With that being said also, let's go to the negatives. The most fatal negative of video games is the addiction to video games. It's a time killer. One may lose real experiences if he spends most of his time in the virtual world, and he's more likely to become unsociable. Some games are destructive and urge one after a period of time to be violent and really nervous. Now that you know the negatives and positives of video games, let's go to interview Dr. Soha, who's a special psychiatrist. Hello, Dr. Soha.
How are you, Restus?
I'm fine, thank you. Today I'm going to ask you a couple of questions on video games, so you just gotta answer them.
Okay.
Number one, do you think games are good for the benefit of kids?
Yes, sure. So it's for the pleasure, it's recreational sometimes it's educational. So yes, I believe games are good for children.
Are video games good or bad when they're played at the right amount of time?
Well, in the right amount of time, definitely they are beneficial.
Are video games good for a child's psychology?
Yes. Whenever it's appropriate, time and the content in the games, it can boost someone's mood. It can give him a new cognitive aspect. It can help him to be creative and to imagine things and live in fantasies. So it's definitely good for the psychology.
Or can video games make a child smarter?
Yes, sometimes we use some games to increase a child's attention span. And now we have an e-board for some of the children diagnoses like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or learning disorders. Through the e-board, they are given games and they can get an educational material from it, which we found, the studies found, that they learn it much better and much faster.
At what's the good age for a kid to start playing video games?
Well, for every age category, I think they have a certain content. The simple things according to what they can get, like 3 years old or 2 years old, they can match a circle into a puzzle. This can be done in the game. they can, for example, read a number out loud. So this also can come with the game. So it's a part of education that a 2 or 3 year child can get. And when we get older, they can, like around 4 to 5 years, they can know how to score. So we use games for scoring. Again, it's good for the attention, and so on. So every age category, they can have their own games.
The most important question here which I came for is, are video games good or bad?
I'll tell you, when the games are given appropriately, in appropriate timing, with appropriate content, it's good.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you, Orestes. It was my pleasure.